Every continent has its king, the greatest club that won the most titles. So in this video we'll look at every corner of the earth to see what is the most successful team in each region. The club that won the most trophies from South America, Africa to North America and Europe. Starting with South America, and in this continent there's a team that defeated both Milan and Real Madrid. In South America, the largest country is Brazil, that also has the strongest league with teams like Flamengo, Corinthians and São Paulo. But the most successful club is not Brazilian. Actually, it's from the neighboring country Argentina. And there's one club that makes reaching a Copa Libertadores final seem easy: Boca Juniors. You can only understand the size of Boca when you see their titles. They've won 2 Sudamericanas, kinda a Europa League for South America, and in the biggest club competition they've reached the final 12 times. And in those 12, won 6 titles, the first in 1977 and the last in 2007. Then after winning, they also went for the Intercontinental Cup. Then in 1977, defeated Borussia Mönchengladbach, that were European runners-up. In 2003, defeated AC Milan on penalties, and in 2000, defeated none other than Real Madrid. So Boca is the biggest club in South America. So now let's move on to the next continent, and a continent that loves football: Africa. After that, we will see what is the most successful club in Asia, Oceania, Central America, Europe, and finally North America. So in Africa, people might know their national teams like Mane's Senegal, Morocco with Hakimi, Egypt with Salah and so on. But most people have no idea about the African clubs. And each country has its own king. In Tunisia, the biggest is Esperance, in Congo is Mazembe and so on. But the biggest club in Africa is defined by their Champions League, the CAF Champions League. And the biggest winner, that also won last year, simply dominates it: the Egyptian Al Ahly Sporting Club. Al Ahly is from the capital of Egypt, Cairo, and it seems no one can challenge them. In Egypt, they are by far the greatest champions of everything, winning 43 Egyptian Premier Leagues and 38 Egyptian Cups. Now in the African Champions League, while the second biggest winner has 5 titles, Al Ahly won 11 times, more than double. They literally won 3 of the last 4 editions, reached 4 consecutive finals and won 3 titles. Impressive. So just like Africa have this tournament very difficult to win, except for Al Ahly, in Asia the continental tournament is one of the toughest in the world. There are 40 teams from 20 different countries competing in the AFC Champions League. And it's actually quite balanced. The biggest champion has only 4 titles. And that is different from other tournaments. The continent is divided in 2 regions, East and West, and the teams face each other in the knockout stage until there is only one on each side to play the final. And the current champion is Japan's Urawa Red Diamonds. But they are not the greatest club in Asia. The most successful is precisely the team the Japanese faced in their final: Al Hilal Saudi Football Club. The club that signed Neymar is the biggest Saudi champion, which is already a very difficult league and plays the continental tournament every year. The Walpo Hank Steelers and Urawa Reds have 3 titles. Al Hilal played 9 AFC Champions League finals, winning 4 and losing 5, 2 times more final appearances than the other clubs. And also, Al Hilal is the team with the highest market value in Asia. According to Transfermarkt, their squad is worth 241 million euros, much higher than the biggest team in South America and Africa combined. So now let's travel to a very small continent, so much so that Italy has a bigger population: Oceania. After Oceania, we'll see what is the most successful club in Central America, Europe and North America. So in Oceania, the strongest country is Australia by far. And in Australia, the most successful club is Sydney FC. Sydney FC is the biggest winner of the A-League, and also the team that finishes the most in second place. On top of that, in 2005, Sydney won the Oceania Continental Tournament. Even their stadium is very beautiful. Look, this is the Sydney Football Stadium with a capacity for 45,000 people. But in Oceania, there is a much bigger discussion, because there is the continent Oceania and the Football Confederation. And why the discussion? Because even though Australia is part of Oceania, they don't play for the OFC anymore. Australia was so much better compared to the others that in mid-2000s left the OFC and went to play for Asia. Sydney FC no longer plays in the OFC Champions League. So since Sydney and other Australians are out, a team from New Zealand dominates: Auckland City. To give you an idea, it's not even a pro club. Auckland's officially amateur, but it doesn't take much more than that to dominate Oceania. In the last 11 editions of the OFC Champions League, they've won 9 times. It came to a point where they won 7 times in a row. I don't know if they would dominate like that with the Australian clubs playing, but even so. So now let's travel to the other side of the globe and talk about the biggest club in Central America. Yes, Central America can be considered part of North America, but it's also its own region. So for this video's sake, let's divide them both. And the clubs from Central America and the Caribbean plays in a continental tournament with teams from Mexico and the United States. So for a team from Central America to win, it's very difficult. But there's a team that managed to win the continent 3 times. This team is the most successful in Central America and plays in this stadium for 23,000 people. Deportivo Saprissa. This club is from Costa Rica, a country between Nicaragua and Panama, and became the non-Mexican with the most continental titles. In 1993, they won the title over León from Mexico, in 1995 over Municipal from Guatemala, and in 2005 against Pumas, another Mexican club. And Saprissa was also runner-up in 2004 and 2008. They reached the continental final 5 times. For a non-Mexican, this is huge. But even being the biggest in Central America, it's still very small. Their market value, according to Transfermarkt, is 7.5 million euros. The entire Saprissa squad has a market value 3 times as less as Cucurella from Chelsea. Yeah. So before we go to North America with Canada, Mexico and United States, let's continue and move on to the strongest continent in football. The continent with the biggest teams, biggest players and the biggest competitions. Europe. And Europe indeed has gigantic teams. In Italy there's Juventus, AC Milan that won 7 Champions Leagues, Bayern Munich in Germany, and in England there's a lot. Liverpool, Man United and so on. But the most successful isn't any of them. You can be a Barca fan, but when it comes to titles you have to agree, Real Madrid dominates. The Champions League, known in the past as European Cup, started in 1956, and in the first 5 seasons Madrid won 5 in a row. By 1960, Madrid was already a 5-time continental champion, the same amount Barcelona has today. Then in 1966, they won another, but after that went through a period without winning again, even being runners-up in 81. The only team to almost catch up with them was Milan. In the 90s, Madrid had 6 titles and Milan reached 5, until Madrid started winning again. In 1998, won the 7th, in 2008 and in 2002 the 9th. Then after another period without winning, with Ronaldo, they won the 10th in 2014 and again in 2016, 2017 and 2018. And if that wasn't enough, in 2022 Madrid won a 14th title, having literally twice as many as Milan. They have more titles than Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Juventus combined. That's crazy. So now there's only one more continent, North America, with Canada, Mexico and the US. The best Canadian teams plays in the MLS, so the most successful of the continent is either in the MLS or in the Liga MX. In the MLS, there are teams like Columbus Crew that won the MLS Cup 3 times, DC United with 4 titles, and LA Galaxy, 5-time MLS champion. LA Galaxy really had legendary players, like David Beckham, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and the other teams also had legends, like Kaká in Orlando City, Pirlo, Lampard and David Villa in New York City, Thierry Henry in New York Red Bulls, and of course now Lionel Messi in Inter Miami. And the best teams from the US plays in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, also called CONCACAF Champions League. The US teams are growing, so much that in 2022 Seattle Sounders was crowned continental champion, defeating Pumas from Mexico in the final. But when we look to the all-time champions list, there's no way around it, Mexico dominate. While the US has one CONCACAF title with DC United in 1998, one with LA Galaxy in 2000 and another with Seattle Sounders in 2022, Mexican teams have won it guess how many times? 38! Monterrey and Pachuca won 5 times and Cruz Azul won 6. But the biggest champion isn't any of them. It is the team that plays in the Azteca Stadium, Club America. Their stadium has a huge history. It'll host the opening match of the 2026 World Cup and hosted 2 World Cup finals. Club America was founded in 1916, over 100 years ago, and is the biggest national champion with 14 Liga MX titles. But more than that, in CONCACAF they've won many times. The first title came in 1977, then in 1987, 1990, 1992, 2006, 2015 and 2016. America was crowned CONCACAF champion 7 times, more than any other. And America is still very strong. It's the club with the best squad worth 96 million euros. It's a big club. So did you like this video? Check out this other one that I posted. I think you're gonna like it. Thank you and bye.